an F-rank hero who trained hard and unlocked SS rank power to become the strongest hero. Lightning flashes and thunder rumbles in the sky as a young man suddenly gets flung to the ground. He rolls around on the dirt, struggling to catch his breath. Above him, a group of people watches intently. One of them congratulates him for the significant improvement he has made over the last 2 years. Another tells him that the E-rank exam should no longer be a problem for him. In fact, someone else comments that he would probably destroy the testing venue now. These powerful individuals radiate with energy as they assess him. Meanwhile, on the ground, the young man can't help but remark that he is still nowhere near his 4 masters level. The scene shifts to a bright, sunny day in a bustling city. Strong-looking young people are everywhere, all headed towards a large building. Inside, a lady announces that the registration for the E-rank promotion exam is currently ongoing. The young man, Rick, approaches the desk to take his exam ticket, but the girl behind the counter recognizes him. The girl, Alyssa, reminds him that they used to work together 2 years ago. She was shocked when Rick abruptly resigned from their jobs and declared he would become an adventurer. Rick looks embarrassed as he admits that starting out as an adventurer in their 30 seems foolish, especially when most adventurers started at F rank in their teens and reached E rank 2 years later. Alyssa asks him what he has been doing for the past 2 years. Rick explains that he has been training extensively with his masters. Their conversation is interrupted by a drunk man who arrives at the counter and starts harassing Alyssa. The drunk persistently asks Alyssa to go have fun with him. When Alyssa tries to reject him, he grabs her hand and tries to force her. Rick intervenes on ticket. To his horror, he gets the unlucky number 4242. He exits the building, where the dark elf Ryanette, one of Rick's masters, asks him how the registration went. Inside, the adventurers are amazed to see a handprint on the drunk's armor, which seems to have caused him to pass out. They recognize the drunk as the former ranker, Domold, who is wanted for assault. Alyssa recalls how Rick grabbed the drunk earlier, and wonders if he was the one who knocked him out. Meanwhile, Rick undergoes the physical examination first. Doctors assess his height and weight, surprised and concerned to learn that Rick is already 32 years old. After the physical exam, the next step is the magical exam. Examinees place their hands on a crystal ball that measures their mana, shining according to their mana levels. As the examinees start, some get D or D. They are amazed when one girl gets C+, a high aptitude for an F-rank adventurer. When it's Rick's turn, he touches the ball and a small light appears, only to soon disappear, resulting in an F grade from the doctor. Other examinees start gossiping and mocking Rick, but he ignores them and leaves. The doctor is about to call the next examinee when they're on the golden slime bag, punching it 50,000 times a day. Back in the present, examinees hit the bag while the proctor records their results at him. Unfortunately, his master's fireballs were the size of houses and exploded like nuclear bombs. Rick wonders if the boy just condensed his magic because they are indoors. After a few more examinees, it's Rick's turn on the slime bag. He is about to start when the proctor remarks on his age of 32. The proctor then tells him that his mana never had time to grow since he started so late, as shown by his mana results. He advises Rick to give up. Rick feels the gaze of the much younger examinees, but he remembers how he always stood up and continued his training, even with bloody fists. He doesn't understand what's wrong with becoming an adventurer at his age. Rick punches the green slime bag so hard in anger that it slams into the wall, destroying it and spraying green slime all over the room. Everyone is stunned while Rick looks at his hand and guesses that the slime bag must be defective. Meanwhile, the young boy is annoyed at Rick for upstaging him and promises to show him up at the next test, defensive magic. Unfortunately for him, Rick once again surprises everyone as he withstands the proctor's attacks. The proctor recognizes that Rick is still using first nature magic to block his attack and advises Rick to level it up for the next one. Rick admits that he can actually only use first nature magic. Nevertheless, he is confident in his skills. The proctor concedes and starts casting a fifth nature magic attack. A huge cyclone of air blasts forth from the proctor's hands, hitting Rick directly in the chest. The massive cyclone of wind even breaks the magic barriers surrounding the venue. Sylvester Urselnia, the first-ranked knight of the Royal Knights, is on the outskirts of the city and sees the shockwaves coming from the training grounds. He assumes that something terrible is happening there, so he quickly makes his way to the exam center. He learns from one of the examiners that an F-ranked weak adventurer blocked a military-grade nature magic using only a defensive first nature magic. Sylvester finds it unbelievable and assumes that the examiner is joking with him. The examiner assures him that this is indeed the case, and even shows him the profile of the examinee. Upon examining the details, Sylvester finds it even more questionable that a 32-year-old man, who was nothing more than a guild receptionist a few years ago, has suddenly become this powerful. After the defense test, the first round of exams comes to an end, and Rick heads outside with Rionette to rest for a moment. Rionette reminds Rick that the next exam will be an intelligence test, meaning it will be a written exam to measure all of the adventurer's knowledge. Rick confidently announces that he will get a 100% score in the written test, telling Rionette that just because he was a receptionist, she shouldn't underestimate his intellect. Still, all he did for 14 long years was welcome drunk, negative adventurers, which is why Rionette is skeptical of him getting top marks. Rick realizes that he cannot convince her of his intelligence, so he drops his act and tells her that he is more worried about the first round's results. Despite clearly excelling in the practical exams, his magical power of mana was ranked as an F, and he fears he will not attain a high rank. Rionette comforts him, telling him that no matter what the result might be, he should be proud of himself for showing astonishing growth in the past 2 years. The blonde prodigy, who just can't mind his own business, comes to annoy Rick and Rionette because he has nothing better to do with his life. Rick recognizes this sore loser as the so-called prodigy, but fails to recall his name. So, the boy, as he doesn't want to get cancelled by the internet, he asks the boy why he has come here and if he has gotten lost. Seeing his angry face, Rick assumes the kid might be looking for his parents and offers to help him find them. Freed, of course, finds Rick's unintentional remarks rather insulting, and accuses him of deliberately stealing his thunder at the exam. According to Freed, it was his long-awaited dream to become the main character, and he had planned the whole year how he would show off his brilliance at this exam. But because of Rick, he failed to have a heroic debut and couldn't stand out. Seeing that the kid is almost on the verge of tears, Rick tries to calm him down, promising him that it wasn't his intention at all. While Rick is desperately trying to come to an understanding with the obnoxious kid, Ponytail Girl, Angelica is apparently the elder sister of Freed and is here to protect her little brother from this scary middle-aged uncle. Freed tells Angelica that Rick was bullying him and even exaggerates that this uncle is in his 40s. Believing her little brother's words, Angelica decides to teach Rick a lesson and challenges him to a duel. She is most certainly full of herself and deserves to be humbled. Rick is forced to accept the challenge, even though he doesn't want to get involved in any unnecessary fights, and is taken to the training grounds. There, Angelica officially introduces herself as a second-class knight of the Royal Knights, indicating that she is quite strong. According to Angelica, duels in this kingdom allow the winner to set a term for their victory. Her term is that Rick becomes her servant for the rest of his life. She proudly tells him that once she defeats him in the duel, she will discipline him in every possible way to make sure he never bullies children again. Rick ignores the blonde with no brains for now and asks Rionette if she knows what rank Angelica. Since Angelica is a second-class knight, Rionette assumes she is a B-ranked adventurer. This means she has the capability to defeat a high-level monster on her own without a party. Rick underestimates his own abilities and starts to think he will never be able to beat Angelica because he is just an F-rank adventurer. He isn't even sure if he will make it out alive in this duel. As he begins to panic, Rionette once again comforts him, telling him to stay calm and use the training he has been through these last 2 years. Rionette's words make Rick remember the gruesome training he endured, which terrifies him to the point of nausea. Still, Rionette continues to encourage him, reminding him that he is now a member of the strongest adventure party on the continent, the Orichalcum Fist. Thanks to Rionette's words, Rick regains his composure and prepares for his duel with Angelica. Angelica, who had been tolerating Rick's hesitation, can't wait any longer and brings out her sword, enhancing her body and weapon with magic. She dashes at him with quick speed, taking him by surprise. Not because she is extremely fast, but because she is pathetically slow. From his perspective, Angelica is running at a much slower pace than his normal running speed, making him realize that maybe B-ranked adventurers aren't that impressive. He avoids Angelica's second attack, which she assumes happened by fluke because she can't believe an F-ranked adventurer could evade her lightspeed attack. She goes for a third attack and once again disappoints Rick, who begins to think that Angelica might have made it to B-rank through nepotism or something. He does not for once consider that he might be strong. As she keeps coming at him with her snail-like strikes, Rick finally decides to intercept her. He aims for her head but misses by an inch, creating a huge crater on the ground. This makes Angelica realize that Rick is actually overpowered. She immediately surrenders, letting him win the duel. She begins to leave with Freed, but Rick stops her, reminding her of the punishment terms she had set. The loser would become the winner's servant for life. However, Angelica refuses to keep her word and makes a run for it with her brother. With the duel over, Rick wonders about the results of the first round of the exams. Rionette informs Rick that Master Bronson and the others will be coming to the guild soon. Hearing this news, Rick becomes startled again, as he doesn't want to face these scary, overpowered entities. This brings an end to our episode 1. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more anime recaps.